Well. What's this thing to turn around? Well, I had a turnaround switch on it. There's a guitar up there in the rafter. I thought I'd play a song. Wait a minute. This is Brent. And today's Lord's Day. So it's running. Right. I'm a carpenter. And if you could see that. You could invest in my future. Well, so let's see. What do we do today? News, blues, and reviews. Yeah, that's right. I thought I'd play a song. I wish we had the camera thing that we could turn around here to make it easier. Let's see. We could get the holder for it too. Yeah, we work better with that. Get out of the way, hound dog. So we're doing videos. We don't do live videos yet. Well, I mean, I'm still alive. So like that, I guess you could count it. Anyway. So what we talk about today? Well, it's the Lord's Day. So I thought I'd fire off a hymn. And I also thought I'd apply for work. I'm a carpenter, so I'm working. I got stuff to do. I'm actually pretty content and stuff, but you never know how things go with a carpenter's life. So it's always good to put it out there that I'm a carpenter. I build stuff, build all kinds of stuff. If you look on my Facebook page, I build all kinds of stuff. So I'm a tradesman carpenter for about 30 years. So now I pretty much just do remodel stuff for people, help them out. I do a lot of landscaping too, ponds, pathways, just stay busy. But I really love building buildings. Usually find one or two persons to help. Then I work for a homeowner builder kind of thing. Real low key. I usually try to be price efficient and all that. Anyway, and I'm a political activist and a aspiring musician. That would be stretching it. Not a musician, not a musician. Yeah. Not hoodoo voodoo, but I butcher music very badly. So you might get to see if you stay around. So anyway, let's see. Wish we could do the. We could look at it like this. No, don't look at it like that. Well, you could PayPal.me/Brent Free Agent if you so feel inclined. And I'm a political activist. I mentioned that. I push to uphold the United States Constitution and balanced budget, and to help push for truth and justice back into the government of the United States and balanced system firmly founded on the Constitution. And it's all founded on the word of the Lord in the King James Bible. If you're so inclined to open it up and read. My favorite scriptures come from the book of Isaiah. And I was always told when I was young that when the words of Isaiah come true, you'll start to understand them a lot more. Isaiah, a lot of people, it's real hard to understand. It is a bit. But the more the latter days come forward, and the more the prophecies of Isaiah come to bear, then the more understanding they become. So, there's that. So let's fire off a song. Where's my holder there? Get back, hound dog. So usually I'm a loner pretty much, work by myself. If I was to build a building or a house, then I would, it used to be a bit more where I would, I wouldn't mind doing most of it myself. But a bit older, so now I would push like before, get a helper or two, and, stuff like that. Or the homeowner works pretty good too. Some of them like to, some of them don't. So I thought I'd buy off some music, Anyway, so much for that. Let's see, what else can we butcher? Dog, don't be getting weird. Well, I have these ones too. These ones are really like these. Well, I'm not very good at that either. Okay, but the only thing I'm really kind of decent at is building buildings. Music, I'm terrible, so. But I'm a political activist, so. Like I mentioned, I'm kind of busy now, but I'm always interested if somebody had a project that was interesting. I would definitely entertain the thought. I've been working, usually if I'm at some place for a year or two, that's usually a long time for a carpenter. And when I was younger, I think, maybe 5-10 years would be the longest. Few at 2 years or so, but a whole bunch at 2 or 3 weeks. They would part them out, and they'd say, here's a roof or two you could do. Then you'd do a roof or two or a whole house framing. Then you'd go down the ramp and play the circuit, go to the next place. When they had what was called prosperity. Now they say they got it, but well, there's not a lot of truth and soundness in the system. Like Isaiah, we could do some Isaiah. Truth is fallen, justice can't enter. And so it's real important to push for truthfulness. One of my new favorite songs is the Outlaw Girl. What's her name? Let's see. I Wouldn't Want to Be Like You by Sheryl Crow. And it talks about truthfulness in this system. It's I like her because she's very cutting edge. I don't necessarily maybe agree with her politics or whatever like that, but that's really not the point. I think people get pushed away with Republican, Democrat way too much, and we should be pushing for American citizen, for the Constitution and freedom. Freedom of, I heard a good Ron Paul article today about freedom of the press and freedom of the speech. What's going on with Julian Assad is just despicable, and our country is a big part of the problem. I should get the wire cutters out, cut some of this wire back. I fired this guy up, but he's a little rougher. Been sitting back in the corner for a while. I'm not really a strumming kind of feller. Better slow it down a bit, that might work. Frankie and Johnny were lovers. Whoa. Oh, Lordy, how they could swear to be true to each tell you I found something to butcher up. Let's see. Well, maybe I better tell a joke. Oh, golly, I'm fresh out of them. What do you make of all this economy stuff? Let's see. I should be doing the date. The date is September 2nd or 3rd. It's Sunday, so September should be easy enough to look up for me later if I had to. So I thought I'd leave a record a bit. It's not a bad idea. Been trying to do a journal too, you know, for your posterity and stuff. So I need to get back in that. I was real good at that for a bit. Then I lost them. Somebody stole the bag and I had like 3 or 4 books, you know, scrapbook journal stuff. I got out of it, and it's really a good thing to do. So I thought this video journal's pretty good, really. So I put the date. Let's see, it's September 3rd. Must be 3rd, 2nd or 3rd, 2018. So I thought we'd keep going with this. When I'm finding stuff to build, I build all kinds of homes. I do siding and remodels. There's so much of that with the housing market. So distorted. New homes, they don't really call in extras. When they throw out a bunch of loans and they need extras, it's easy for them to put it together crew and build houses. But when the market's, I call it tight, they call it right. The market's hit the top. The housing prices all-time high, and home ownership's all-time low. I mean, dude, to me that's a no-brainer. This song's got about 10 verses, dude. But this one only got one. This book only got one in it. Maybe I could put one on my head. Roses love sunshine. Violets love dew. Angels in heaven know I love you. Love you, dear. No, I love you. I do. I'm more fit for an old folks home than you know, I play more for like that. What else I got over here? You know, I might have this one here. So what do I like to build? I used to go around and build roofs, like a circuit for the rodeo. But so you look, I was telling my friend he wanted to hire somebody at his business, quit, and he's going to go to a higher end service. I kind of laughed. His friend were getting together. So I told him, I said, hey, why don't you get in the newspaper or, you know, what's that, Craigslist? That's what we used to do. We used to look in the newspaper and go, carpenters wanted, and roofers or framers in the same area. You know, I used to be a roofer, a stacker. They call it that. Not so much the shingler. I do that too, but I built roofs. You know, roll the trusses, plywood it, do the overhang, then the pickup in the. You know. So I used to do a bit of that. But I try to find whole houses if I get the right price. A lot of times they'd want to do them so cheap that then the guys would just start doing just the roofs and pay more. You do 1 or 2 roofs. I've seen this one kid do 3 roofs in a week. I would usually go for a big 2-story roof, but anyway. So anyway, so he's going, well, I'll go to a job agency finding place. I go, well, you know, they usually skim $2 off the top. And he goes, oh, this one don't. I'm going, oh, okay. You know, it's connected to the unemployment department in the city. So, you know, somebody paying for it somewhere. But, you know, whatever you want professional, put it in the paper, put an ad on. That's why I put my ad on the YouTube. I just kind of figured, you know. So, you know, hang your shingle out there, and somebody knows where to look. You know, maybe they could, you know, throw something your way. So anyway, I don't know whatever come about it. Not too much interest in. It was on a few days ago. That's sharp. Geez, a little. That's kind of fun thing. It's been so hot I ain't had it tuned up. So anyway, just kicking back. Let's see, the market's interesting. Depending on how you look at it, the government's defrauding the market with the central bank. You said they're in collusion. Now we got Trump in there. It's very interesting. He's running the stats way up, but the market, like he said before he got in, is fake, 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 or it's a big ugly bubble. It's a big ugly bubble. So I really like Trump getting out of the wars. I mentioned this pretty much on previous videos. But so they're thinking the markets might correct, or they might turn on the lights in the Justice Department. So be interesting to see how it goes. I told my friend a couple weeks back, is Trump going to be a bailout president like Obama and the one before him, Trump or Bush, or is Trump going to be a free marketer, let the market correct? So we pretty much covered that on our page. But one thing I thought was pretty interesting, Trump's getting out of the war. So that's interesting because, look, the central bank is an insolvent unit. It's designed, a fiat currency fails every 45 years. And then they need a big war or distraction to cover it up, and then they could blame it on somebody else. Then they start it all over. The debt, they just pile on debt and pile on debt till the planet can't handle it, and then it implodes. And they, when it's right before it's ready to implode, they start a war, or some September 11th like that thing like the Twin Towers. And lo and behold, it's September. So I thought I'd make a few videos and we'll see how this goes. So Trump is a bit different than Obama and Bush. Obama and Bush just went to the wars, and then you notice we've been having the 8-year cycle. And right when Bush was in about a year or two, the market, September 11th, actually it's 2001. So he's in for a year or so, the market tanked. Boom. I believe it's related to the balanced budget. There's more to it, but coming around slowly on it, So anyway, so Obama got in there. Remember, Bush called John McCain and Barack Obama to the office, and the senators need to talk about the market. And Lehman Brothers was taking a powder. Where's my tuner at? I want tuner in just a second. Yeah, close. Anyway, so the point I was really trying to get to on this video is, well, Bush, so they decided to bail out the corporations. This is real weird. That's where your all your the funny money come in, and fake stock market. They really been faking the stock market, holding it up, and then printing funny money out thin air. So they've been doing this since 2000, 2002. They signed the balanced budget in 96, 97, and then the market shot up to the all-time high then was about 15.5. And then and Clinton was in, and he gets out and says, buy and hold, and then Bush took over. Then September, it's 2000. So 2001, I figure the market's ready to correct. The last year or so of Clinton, it was going down, and they're going. Basically they went fixed market. So interesting. This is the way I see it. So they went right to the wars and writing bad checks. I mentioned this, and this is the terrible policy. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. It's terrible. So then the Democrat guy got in there, done the same thing, He was hiring mercenaries, but the point is to do the war. But the point is they're doing, they basically bankrupted the country on illegal deficit spending on undeclared wars. Then a lot of people could argue on that either way, but no, there's no argument as far as I'm concerned. So the point is so they've been doing this quantitative easing, deficit spending through the war thing, taking on huge amount of debt, and saying the market's good, the economy's good. And what was floating it was getting basically treasury bonds, war bonds from the central bank and the Treasury Department. Was so the debt got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're basically riding around in the taxi cab, putting it on the American taxpayer. So anyway, I thought I might run for president. How about that? Well, I mean, not 2020. So Trump's in there, at any rate. That other fellow announced that he might run for president in 2024. Now that's interesting. Nice enough fella. Smart dude too, really. At any rate, he could make his own ad. At any rate, oh, there goes my phone. Oh, that's alright. I got a power cord right here. I'll get sucker in, get to the point. This is a long video. So, it's really important that, let's tune this sucker up here, baby. Come here. There you go. Put it on the power. So, got my State of Jefferson shirt on. So the important part I was trying to get to, the part I've been thinking about lately, it ain't really talked about. I talked about all of the other stuff, sang a couple new songs, but so far, the one dude, Greg Manarone, he said before before Trump got in, he says, you know what, the only way they can keep it going, and that seems to be the plan. Keep it going and don't tell the American people the economy is a piece of shit and the dollar is ready to fail and every fiat currency will return to its original value eventually. And that is zero. So Trump got in there and well, he's getting out of the wars. Well, the problem is, so the government, this is the weird part. You wonder why all this police state's been coming on and all this stuff. Well, because they know the system is failing. The failed dollar means, big trouble. We need to redo the central bank. They need to go back to constitutional currency, gold and silver. I mentioned this before. And so we're at huge jeopardy. If they try to keep the market up and they don't have no war, shit's liable to get real weird. And so it makes you wonder what Trump is going to do with the So, what's Trump going to do? Like my friend Greg was saying on the other YouTube channel, that the president's going to be in there, he's going to have to double the deficit spending. Not just the amount that they spend. Obama and Bush basically spent $5 trillion. Spent more than anybody up to there. Trillions didn't even come in till basically Bush. Then all of a sudden, $5 trillion. And then Obama gets in $10 trillion, so we're at $20 trillion. There's about $5 trillion on the books before Trump or before Bush came in. That's kind of rough numbers. And then, so now you got Trump. And he's getting out of divorce, which is, if you want to waste money, that's the best way to bankrupt your country. Bunch of undeclared wars, continual wars. So if Trump gets out of that, well, how can they keep the market going? And they're kind of hinting that shit might happen, and they're trying to figure out who to blame it on. Probably a carpenter, usual suspects. You got the Vatican, the Devil's Bank. And they're trying to set up the New World Order over there at the Mediterranean. Yeah, they'd be looking for a carpenter. Whoops. I didn't want to get too slippery on all that. But the point being is, that's what I was looking for. That without the war is weird. But they don't have no war. How can they spend that kind of money? So basically, Trump did the tax cut and government increase, doubled the deficit spending. So Trump is on, if things went on 4 years, basically Trump would put on, 8 to 10 trillion in 4 years. Maybe probably 6 trillion. He's doubling the amount they're spending in the deficit borrow. And you can't keep doing it. So in 4 years, another 4 years, or 8 years or so, another while here, they'll have to double it again to just keep things going. So the odds are the market is going to correct either way. And it looks like sooner than later. And if they come in and bail it out, and I'm just saying that is the weird equation. Shit gets real weird with the funny market, the stock market. The currency is bad enough. You watch the bond market, the stocks and bonds. The bond market, there's an entity buying it up. And who'd buy these junk bonds when you got most of these other countries are dumping them? So the government and the central bank are buying, they're getting high on their own supply. And they're buying it up. And they can't keep doing this shit forever neither. So very precarious times. So it looks like they're running out on their string of luck, seems to me. I believe the Lord God Almighty is going to do a new thing. tied to the book of Isaiah. So you run around that, come back around to that. Seemed to me the poor will trust in the Lord. And there's not a lot of trustworthiness in the politicians and stuff. And I'm really pulling for Trump. I'm really hoping they'll come to the thing and come to the constitutional conclusions in sound money or no money. Certainly not electronic money ran by the same central bank. To me, I just call it the devil's banker. A bunch of crap shooters from hell, the way they've been playing the market. So anyway, I suspect either if they let the market burp, it needs to correct the full market value, and they need to repeal the Central Bank Act of 1913, which would repeal the taxes. So I really think Trump is kind of on the right page. I don't like the way he's going about it. It's interesting. It's very dangerous. They're fooling the people. They're fibbing, telling a flipping whopper. Very dangerous. So he came out today and said, hey, y'all be prepared for emergencies and stuff. So I really like that. The people really need to get prepared. It'd be nice to have 72 hours worth of food, 48 hours worth of food, a month's worth of food, 3 months worth of food. If you could get 9 months worth of food or 2 years worth of food storage, rice, beans, water, how about a month's worth of cash, a month's worth of what do you need? How about your medicine and stuff like that? This whole market it goes every 45 years. The last time it really had a problem, it was 1973. They went off the gold standard and went to the oil, the petrodollar, and the dollar has lost its purchasing power almost like straight down. And that's the same thing they want with the electronic currency. You basically treat us like slaves. And that's why the founding fathers came up with the sound money. Congress shall coin the currency out of silver and gold. That's it. Known this paper fiat BS the government's smoking. So at any rate, I really like that Trump's getting out of the wars. He seems to be going to a system where you would, I would agree with, I listened to the X22 report. It's a good report to listen to. And I listened to Dave Manaroni, or Greg Manaroni, and they're kind of opposing viewpoints, but not really, kind of, Anyway, so Trump's plan is, it has some merit to it. For the first 150 years, America made it off of tariffs. And so supposedly Trump is setting up for after the market cracks. And he's run up all the numbers, so he's not totally fibbing. The stats are so much better under Trump than under the last ones. But the whole thing is going to blow up and crap out, which it was going to do anyway. In fact, if he told the Treasury Department, and if you had a Congress that actually had a clue, I'd say something else, but I don't want to get too X-rated. Day one, they would have just said, hey, we're not deficit spending, and the market would have corrected. But then they got all this criminal element around. So the market will correct, and then it's called martial law. Boom, like that. And even in the balanced budget thing, they said they're going to have to call in the National Guard. And the keys are supposed to come out of the private sector and go to Congress. And but after market hits fair market value. That's the thing. That's a point of parliamentary procedure. I didn't really want to go into all that at this one. I'll probably go into that at a later one. But it's very interesting. So 1973 to 2000, there you're at. A fiat currency only goes 45 years. So it was 1945 before that. It made it from 1945 to 1973. And then they play Vietnam and let's have a fake war, and the Gulf of Tonkin was all BS and fake. They showed the kids, the young men, that these people shot a boat, and then they the sailors were in the water getting eaten up by sharks. We can't have that, and what's same with so then all of a sudden everybody lists up to go to the war. They start the deficit spending, and then they go, oh, that's why the market corrected, because all of the BS. So kind of look for that again, or the dark state might pull something. And I've been warning that they might blow up New York City, because they need an event to. The dark state, the ones that want to start up their little flipping Mediterranean government with the Antichrist, they'd just soon get Trump out of the way. This is why I've been kind of poo-pooing Trump's agenda. He's carrying on their false narrative. If they take him out, someone mentioned, I think someone mentioned that the other day, if the Congress is took back by the Democrats, they could start really going after the constitutionalists. And we really ain't knocked down none of their fake narrative. And that's why I was really pushing for Trump to let the market correct to fair market value right out the gate. Then you'd end up having to do martial law and arrest the criminal element, put truth back into the mix. But, he's the one got elected. It's his skin in the game, too. But the American people got their skin in the game, and most of them don't know it. So anyway, I kind of been all over on this one. It's a long one, too. I better shut it off. That was the thing I was trying to get out, is that, well, we're at this point where the market probably correct, but how much? Are they going to let it correct to fair market value, or are they going to puff it up? And to me, it seemed very dangerous if they just let it cut 10%, 50%, then fluff it all back up. And to me, that means they'll probably go for World War III in 2022, 2024, to 2026 to cover for the central bank. So as hard as it sounds, you might be hoping or pushing for fair market value, a balanced budget, and truth coming out of your government. That's about what I was trying to get out. And if you want to support my me being a political activist and a carpenter, you could leave me a message, or you could go fund me on right here. Does it say? Is it in there? Yeah. PayPal me Brent Free Agent. PayPal.me/reagent. There you go, baby. Anyway, everything will be appreciated. And I'm pretty thrifty, and I'm working for the good and push for the country and the Constitution. And I like to build stuff. All right. There's a talk about going to build a new city, but maybe we'll hang on to that for later. Okay, free enterprise out, baby.